Today, I bought the Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader LEGO Star Wars set. Hello everyone, it is I, Republic Stud. Today we are looking at the LEGO Star Wars 75334 Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader, coming with 408 pieces, 4 minifigures retailing for $50 United States dollars, releasing in 2022, available at nearly all stores. Now, this set is widely regarded as one of the worst LEGO Star Wars sets of modern times, and we will be discussing that in my thoughts section, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm going to ask you all to hit that subscribe button. And with that said, we're going to get right on into it. Also, I'm going to have timestamps down below, so if you want to skip around, find out just about the minifigures or the build, and you can skip all around. It's a lot of fun. I'll leave an Amazon affiliate link to buy this set down below. With that said, let's go. Okay, so first up we have a look at the box art for this another really interesting Kenobi set. So first off, it has the most bland background, but then again, it was a pretty bland scene. You just get this gray dirt all over the place. You have a look at the Obi-Wan versus Vader there, which is always great. You have the set details, ages 8 and up, and you also have the minifigures down the corner while a full battle is being depicted on the box art. Now, the back does feature push tabs, and they've been very inconsistent with this wave on what has push tabs and what has tape. So this does have push tabs. You also do get, of course, more of the set on display, and you have a look at all of the different features that come in the set. And then what I believe is some of the best side box printing. I really like the way this one looks in particular because, you know, it's hard to nail these down, especially when they're shipped. So when you have a landscape, it looks really good. Now here are the increasingly atrocious instruction manuals. You have a look, get excited about our new packaging. I cannot get over that because it is just so atrociously bad. The little guy who is at the center is Obi-Wan. I think Ned B probably would have been a better choice for this one. You also do get the advertisements for some Obi-Wan related sets. And then also on this side, you of course get advertisements for all of the sets releasing. I think it's kind of weird that they double up on certain advertisements. I guess these are just, you know, in particular for the Kenobi show maybe. And then you have a look at all the parts that show up. Now with that said, we're going to get in a hyperlapse build. I will leave a timestamp. You'd skip to the minifigures, but with that said, let's go. Now, first up, we have probably the least exciting character, and that is Tala Durith. She is one of the main characters in Kenobi, obviously did fight to save Obi-Wan and other Jedi. She is just a plain officer minifigure, nothing incredibly exciting. You turn her around, she gets no special face painting, she gets a basic officer getup. It's really a pretty plain and simplistic figure. They didn't go all out with her or anything, no leg printing even, but it's alright nonetheless. Next up, we have the legend, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the headlining character of the show. He does come, of course, with an exclusive leg printing, which they did kind of do wonky, because you notice anytime it moves, you see that thing in the center where his belt is? It gets very weird. Like, look at that. That just looks unnatural. I don't like that. He needs to be, like, literally standing very straight for it to look decent. You do get some basic back printing. You also, of course, get the mold again with a bit of this more worried head. I think you could have had a bit of a nervous face than that for a set like this, considering how nervous he was in this particular scene, but it's still an interesting minifigure nonetheless. Now here's Vader, and he is great. The only thing, again, he is seriously lacking is the red eyes. First off, he does, of course, come with his arm printing, which is still a rarity these days. It's harder to come by than not to come by. You do get, of course, your back printing on Vader, which is always appreciated and very nice. And, you know, they don't have to do back printing on these guys, but it's still nice they do. Leg printing, of course, still pretty new. And then, of course, the big deal with this guy is he does come with the Anakin Skywalker face. You get the full Hayden experience, if that's what we're going to call it there. And then you can turn it around, and he does have some serious scars. And I think it's especially important that they put it in this set of all of them, including, you know, all the other Darth Vader inclusions where he's more white, just because, you know, it's really nice to see, so that way he could go against Obi-Wan. And then finally, we have the reason you might want to buy this set, and this is Ned B. Now, this is a really unique figure. First off, he does come with a little truncheon type thing here. It's just a very simple build. But as for the rest of it, it is very neat. Now, first off, I do want to show you, he does not come with any torso printing. It looks really weird. I was like, whoa, that's really weird looking. Should have came with arm printing. That is besides the point. He does come with some beautiful leg printing on the front. And then this whole thing here is a mold minus these 2 bricks in the back. There's actually a little area for you to take this printed piece, not a sticker, printed, and put it right there, and he looks really nice. A nice exclusive cheese board mold, I believe that is what these are called. I do like how he has these shoulders going over, which, you know, again, really makes a case for why it doesn't need arm printing. It's a great looking design. I love that this piece in particular is printed and I didn't have to do any stickering, anything special. If someone could translate what that means in Arabic back there, please let me know. But with that said, let's take a look at all of them. For a $50 set nowadays, this really is not the worst value I've honestly ever seen. Comparing it to, say, something like the Boba Fett Starship, this honestly is a much better value in terms of figures. And you're getting Ned B, who is exclusive. You're getting a cheap way to get Vader, which is nice, or relatively cheap. And then you're getting Obi-Wan and Tala as well. Alright, before we move any further, I just want to point out, yes, this build does not look good. It is not a good-looking set. It is not even a great-looking set. It is not even anything, not even all-right-looking. It just looks bad. I'm sorry. I'm going to get into that more in my final thoughts. I want to say that right out of the gate. With that being said, we're going to take a look at the play features. Now, main feature here is obviously, well, the Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader part of the set, which is, you know, the main point of the set. It is these 2 turntables. The way they work is they're just on this little rotating piece, and they could just spin around as much as their heart desires. You're going to have Obi-Wan fight Vader. You could have him fight. It's actually really kind of a nice feature. You have Obi-Wan really beat down Vader if you want, depending on really the leg position they're in. So there we go. We say Obi-Wan fell right there. Alright, so Obi-Wan has fallen. Now I'm going to show you the other feature, which is kind of pathetic looking. Now back here you have a bit of a crate. This is a mineral transporter of sorts, I guess a flammable mineral. You do have 2 crates full of these orange crystals. I guess they could also qualify as fire. It is a very simplistic transport design, and they do fit in between these 4 studs. Now the problem with it is, of course, if you ever want to move it at all, you're going to be losing those pieces, which is really frustrating. So first off, the way to basically use this is you fling them. You just fling them, and they just kind of fall out. You have this transport kind of loosely dangling. You have crates all over. I don't like this feature because I like it when you're able to fasten things in, and if you want to let go, I'm just not a big fan of the stud, like, shooter outs to begin with, because there's nowhere to store them, where you don't have to worry about them falling out. If you want to move it or anything, keeping the set together is going to be nearly impossible, and then, you know, you'd have to load them back up. It's just a pain in the butt, I'll be honest. So, like, not my favorite type of feature. I get the appeal, though, for it, for sure. Now, with that said, then Vader is going to, say, light the fire on the oil or whatever the flammable material is. Now, the way this works is pretty simple. So Vader lights the fire on the ground after everything caught fire. You pull this back, and it pops right out. Now, I'll be honest, it does look kind of pathetic. You have this one little strand of fire. And then after that, I guess you could say have some of the crystals sprinkled about on the ground. And then there's actually a really interesting inclusion in this set, and that is these 2 random clear cylinders. So the way this works is essentially you put Obi-Wan on these clear cylinders, and he's supposed to, like, float up and Vader's force choking him now, or doing whatever, and he still has the high ground, ironically, which is perfect. But yeah, so he is going to get brought up, and then you could bring him down, drag him through the fire, make it one of the most violent LEGO Star Wars sets ever, which is one thing I do like about this. This was a particularly violent scene in LEGO, in Star Wars altogether, so that was kind of nice that they include that there. And then, of course, there is an area behind here with a stud hopper for Kala to take shots when they go to retrieve Kenobi, and then Vader somehow can't, you know, just step over the little fire he created. And then you send in Ned B, essentially, in this area over here. Now, what is this area? This is, I think, the main, like, refinery. I guess that's what this planet is. So you have some of the refining elements down there. You also do, of course, have a lot of the refining elements in there. And then he's going to walk down from here, take Obi-Wan, and then run away with him. And then Vader's just going to kind of stand there like a dope and not know what to do. And it's overall just kind of a goofy scene. I was not a big fan of the scene. I thought it felt kind of cheap, whether that being the location or just the way they did casting. I love the second one where they had all the characters. This was just a scene that felt really cheap to me. With that said, let's get to my full final thoughts on this pile of garbage. Now first, let's take this thing at face value. Let's take it for what it is. As a kid's playset, it is fine. It's actually pretty good. You're getting 4 minifigures, $50. You're getting a pretty nicely play-featured build. You get lots of things to flick around. You get a weird engine thing. It's all right. You get this cool feature where you get to load this up and you could close it down. Very neat. I love all of that stuff about it. That's how you close the fire, by the way. Very neat system. I really think it's good as a playset. In literally every other department, it is not the best. The figure department, again, all right. I'll let it slide in the figure department. But everything else, the build looks terrible. It is based off of a not great scene. First off, I was not a fan of this scene. I did not think it was a particularly good scene. Again, I'll be honest. I just thought it was a cheap scene. But that is, I guess, subjective. Objectively, looking at this LEGO Star Wars set, it is just a plain, boring location to do a LEGO Star Wars set on. I think they had a lot more material to work with from the final battle, but they couldn't wait. And that was my biggest fear, because now we're never going to get that final battle, because they already did a battle from Kenobi between Vader and Obi-Wan. Why would they do a second battle? That would be kind of dumb to do that. With that also being said, you know, I like the turntables. I like some of the play features. They're all right. It's just an all right set. It is not the literal worst set I've ever seen, but it is not the best. It is not a set I would personally display on shelves. This is not something you put on a shelf for all my adult collectors out there, because if you're sitting it on a shelf, you're going to have to look at it from this angle. Like, that's just a terrible angle to look at a set from. You need some, you know, depth to it, and it is not there. It is essentially a over-glorified gray base plate. You throw a lot of bricks on there, you can spin around and have all these cool features, but it is still flat. There's no dimension or depth to it, like, say, with Jabba's palace over there, the throne room, or Vader's castle, which is up there. And that is just not the fault of the you know, set designers or anything. It's just, it was a boring scene to choose. So that is my take on this overall. I hope you guys enjoyed. With that said, remember to peace out and stay awesome. Wait. I can't believe you guys were just about to click off this video without liking it. What's the deal? Why'd you do that? Don't do that. Click that like button. I'm still waiting. Okay, you can go now.